Okay, this is the Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Plan Commission January. It's the regular meeting. We are doing it by Zoom due to COVID. The time is 6 o'clock. Marty, would you call the roll for the record, please?
Yes. Mr. Borchers? Ms. Carey?
Here.
Mr. Dishman?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Henry?
Here.
Mrs. Hensley? She's here.
Yeah, it's here.
Mr. Landis?
Here.
Mr. Matzenbacher?
Here.
Ms. Sipe?
Here.
Mr. Stevens Hotop?
Here.
Amy? And Mr. Wisely? Okay.
Very good. We'll go to confirmation of attorney.
Yes, and I would entertain the motion to confirm Joe Ratz as our attorney.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hensley? Yes. Mr. Landis,
Yes.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Mr. Wisely? Oops. Absent. Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you all. I appreciate that.
Congratulations, Joe. Introduction of members.
Yes.
Marta?
We had two positions that were up at the end of last year. One was Teresa Hensley, and she was reappointed by the commissioners at their meeting last Monday. And then the other position was previously held by Nathan Van Adder, and that is a mayoral appointment. And the mayor appointed a new member for us, and that is Judd Matzenbacher. Some of you might know him because Judd's been around for a long time. And since he is a new member, as you all know, and I've warned Judd that we need to do this, I do have the oath of office to give to Judd as a new member to the commission. So I would ask Judd if you would raise your right hand, and I'll read the oath. Do you agree to make planning decisions regardless of political pressures, to show leadership in enlightening both the public and local government in the ways of planning, to recognize the role of compromise in public affairs, but never to compromise the principles of honesty and integrity, to refuse to act for personal gain, to be tolerant of vested interests, but never to favor them at the expense of public well-being, to encourage a planning program which shall improve the community and its people to the result of better government for the future, and to perform the duties of your office to the very best of your ability. And if you agree, please respond with "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Okay.
Right. Welcome back, Teresa, and welcome, Judd. Appreciate both of you. All right, we'll move on to the election of officers.
Okay. We have two officers, president and vice president. And as you can tell, since Mr. Henry opened the meeting, he was the president in 2020. I would open the floor for nominations for the position of president for 2021.
Marta, I make a motion that we re-put Shannon Henry back in as president.
Okay,
Second.
very good. Are there other nominations.
There's any other nominations, that's great. I think I was president in 2019 as well.
Yes, but that's fine.
I'd
Yeah.
like to make a motion to nominate Jerry Dishman as president.
I'll second that.
Okay. So are there any other nominations? And hearing none, I declare the nominations closed. And what I will do is, well, I can do this two ways. We can have a vote on each one, or I can ask you, as I call your name, whether you vote for Mr. Henry or Mr. Dishman. So, is that clear? Everybody good, clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, so, Ms. Carey,
Dishman.
okay. Mr. Dishman,
Henry,
okay. Mr. Hall,
Mr. Henry.
Ms. Hensley,
Looks like she's off, Marta.
yeah, okay,
Sent me a message and said she was having some.
yeah, difficulty. Mr. Landis,
Dishman.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Henry.
Ms. Sipe,
Henry.
and Mr. Henry.
Mr. Dishman. That
Okay, so,
Matthias,
well, it doesn't get us official action because Teresa dropped off and Alan's not here. Because I have 3 for Jerry, 3 for Mr. Dishman, and 4 for Mr. Henry. And we need 5 votes for official action since the total membership is 9 members. So,
what if, could I entertain a motion? I'll take the president's spot again and Mr. Dishman be vice president? Can we do that?
and I can consider that motion since the other motion failed because of lack of official action. So entertaining a new motion, which would be for Henry for president and Dishman for vice president.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, everybody clear then? And are there any other, well, no, that's the motion that I will go with, and I will call the roll. Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hensley, no, she's still off, sorry. Mr. Landis,
Yes.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Very good. That is 7 yes, 0 no, with 2 absent. And that is approval of Mr. Henry for president for 2021 and Mr. Dishman for vice president for 2021. So congratulations to both.
Very good. We'll take care of things.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on to the minutes, the consideration of the November 5th, 2020 regular monthly meeting minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Carey. Do I have a second? JP seconded. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Landis,
Abstain.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Now we'll do the minutes for consideration November 24th, 2020 special meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion for those?
So move.
I have a motion by
Second.
Pipe, second by JP. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Landis.
Abstain.
Okay. Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Very good. Both sets of minutes approved.
Okay, table business, that remains on the table. Under new business, BZA 01-21. Marta?
Yes, Jurisdiction Board of Zoning Appeals, being a consideration of an appeal filed by Erica Y. Robinson, 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, requesting a special use under the terms of the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to allow a home occupation for a one-chair beauty salon in an existing home with a variance for a 4-foot by 4-foot sign on premises located at 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, as more accurately described in the application.
Very good. Does anyone have questions?
Yes. Marta, has any of the neighbors going to complain about the sign being out there?
We did receive one call, but I believe we have Ms. Robinson ready to present the case at the podium. So if you would please state your name and your address.
Y. Robinson, 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, 47304.
And explain what you want to do and supporting your request.
Okay, I am wanting to operate a one-chair, one-person salon out of my home. One of the big reasons is if something, with the pandemic or whatever would happen again, that would be a safe place for me to operate a business out of. Also, if both of my children would have to go to full Zooms, it would allow me to be able to still create income and still be at home with my family. Those are the main reasons. Myself and my sons are both high risk, so it would be easier for me to control the sanitation, control who would come in and out, the people that we would be around, and all of that. And again, just to be able to create, generate income for my family. As far as for the sign goes, I put 4x4 on there, 4 foot by 4 foot. I figured I'd go big or go home. It doesn't have to be that big. But I just would like something that I could put close to the road to where I could differentiate our house and where the salon would be versus all the other houses in the neighborhood. So just something that's big enough that we put out by the driveway that would be like a noticeable eye catcher for that. But no like neon lights, no like nothing crazy. Just a sign with the name, the phone number, that would say by appointment only. I wouldn't have walk-ins, so it would be kind of a controlled situation.
Okay, and just for the members' information, and I'm sure Ms. Robinson knows this, a home occupation is limited by the ordinance to a 1-foot square wall sign posted, next to the entryway into the operation. And the reason for that is a home occupation is not supposed to change the appearance of the home from being a home. It's supposed to be very low key. So that's why she needs to also request a variance from that provision for the sign.
Yeah.
And ultimately that will be up to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The Plan Commission will be making a recommendation to the board. So,
Yeah, I was requesting a sign to, you know, kind of be out towards the road. How the house is set up, it's difficult to see. There's some bushes, and a porch that make it difficult to see a sign directly up next to the entryway. So that was another reason that I was requesting a sign. Again, it doesn't have to be 4 foot by 4 foot. After I put that on there, I thought that is pretty big. So, it doesn't have to be that big by any means. But that was what I was requesting it for, just to kind of, like I said, to differentiate, where the salon would be versus the other neighboring homes around us.
I don't know if there's anyone in the room to speak in favor or against. We didn't receive any calls. But you could, Shannon, officially, you could ask if there's anyone who wants to speak also in favor and or against.
Do we have people in the room with her? Kyle is.
There's no one here.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Kyle, is there anyone in the room?
Yeah.
He said no, but I don't know if you heard him or not.
Okay, okay, very good. I think 4 foot by 4 foot sign is kind of big, I think.
Yeah, like I said, after I put it on there, I said, well, I'll just go big or go home, and I can always make it smaller. But once I really started thinking about it, that is pretty tall and pretty wide. So I honestly probably would not make it that big. I don't want our neighborhood to look very particular about how things look anyways. So I definitely wouldn't want it to be an eyesore or draw attention away from anything else in the neighborhood. But at least if I could get like a, I'm not sure what the size of like the real estate signs are, or like the for sale signs, even if I could do something like that size. Like I said, I just wanted something that would differentiate, so when clients or guests would come over, they would know which home they were supposed to be going to versus going up and knocking on someone else's door by accident. That was all that I was wanting it for.
Marta, can you review what is required? I mean, as of now, you said
Just a 1 square foot wall sign.
okay.
So this would be, given that property, probably the easiest place to place that would be on the wall, the
Right.
wall of the garage there.
Well,
I was thinking like maybe a 3 by 3, no higher than, no taller than 4 foot.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and that would be fine with me. Like I said, I'm not sure of exactly what the dimensions of like the real estate signs are that you know that say for sale or sold or whatever, but even something that size.
24 by 42, I believe.
Yeah, even something that size would be fine.
Was there anybody else have any comments?
I had a question about the parking. In the application, it mentions up to 6 vehicles, but I guess I just want to kind of make sure, are you planning on adding stone or something like that? Because I don't think we'd want to allow parking on like a grass space or area.
Right. So personal parking, there's a 2-car garage.
Yep.
where my car would go into. And then there is enough space just on the blacktop for 4 other cars right there.
Okay.
And then located off to the right side of the garage, we've actually put gravel all the way back to the fence. So there is additional parking next to the paved driveway in the form of gravel right there too.
Okay. So there would not be any additional gravel being added to the yard or adjacent to the right of way, but all would be in the parking that's already provided.
Yes.
Yep, that's all my questions.
Hi, I have a question. I'm supportive of the variance for the special use. I guess I'm a little bit concerned by the signage. This question, I guess, is for Marta. Is there any examples of something that would be less, I don't know, obstructive or less, overbearing?
Yeah.
That we could maybe consider? Because I see the issue with the 1 foot by 1 foot sign is not very big. It's not really going to serve much of a purpose. But I also understand the need or the desire to limit, big signage in the front yard and taking away from the residential appeal of the house. So, any suggestions from you, Marta, that we might consider?
Well, there's been a lot of different variations dealing with signage like this. The wall surface of where the garage is, there's a space sort of at the above the doors, a little bit under the eave though. There's also a space like on the it would be the south wall of the garage doors. We've had some where they do a larger long sign, like 3 or 4 feet long, but it's narrow. And so that would still draw attention to it. There's not a lot of space there, so I don't know how wide it could be. We've also had flag mounted, much smaller flag mounted signs that have a little bit more of a, I don't know, compatible appearance, rather than 2 poles in the ground kind of thing, which is considered more temporary.
I'm just thinking, since this is an appointment only business,
Right.
you're gonna have regular customers coming and going, and so the need for large signage to pull people off the street, I'm not sure is necessarily needed. So, I don't know, Mrs. Robinson, what you're willing to accept in that regard, but if you're willing to accept something limited,
I would like to be able to use it as advertisement as well. I was planning on putting a phone number on there, but having by appointment only. So I would like it for advertisement as well. But I guess my biggest concern was just making sure that my guests didn't bother or accidentally go to one of my neighbors' homes on accident. But like I said, I put 4 feet by 4 feet into the application, but I would very much be fine with if it was no bigger than like a real estate sign, that doesn't take up any more area in a yard than if I was a realtor trying to sell a house.
Right.
But if I need to put it, if we can figure out something to put, kind of on the garage area, that would be big enough that I could put the name and the phone number on and that it could be seen from the road. I'm willing to consider that as well.
It might be possible.
Any issues from the neighbors at this point?
No.
No.
Oh, well, not for me. I don't know if they've called in or not, but personally, I don't have any issues with any of my direct neighbors. I have pretty good relationships with all of them. And actually across the street, diagonally across the street is a group home. So that's not necessarily like a private residential either. And so there's traffic kind of coming in and out of there as well too.
We did receive a call into the office from Annette Nelson at 3911 West Godman Avenue. And Godman is the street just north of where her house is. She called the office in opposition to the request, and she is not in favor of such a large sign. And she wasn't necessarily in favor of the business itself being in the neighborhood, but she definitely specified the large sign as being in opposition to that.
The whole idea of the signage, I have kind of a problem with it out there next yard anyway. But I'm looking at the pictures of the application and looking straight in on the driveway, the area immediately above the garage door, if the sign was made, I'm going 8 feet because that's an even board, okay, and make it somewhat almost that height. When the cars are parked there, you'd still be able to see it, but it would be against the building. You could get, I think, large enough letters in there and your phone number or whatever you want to put on. But if you center it over those doors, it might look all right and you'd still be able to see it. And I think that might be a little more acceptable. Rather than putting the sign out in the yard.
Okay.
Just in my opinion.
I agree. I'd like to stay with the city ordinance. And it looks to me like with the garage, I mean, there's 3 different side panels you could put a sign on or above the garage doors. I don't like the idea of putting a sign in the yard.
Okay.
So do you want to, does anyone want to make a motion
I'll make a motion to approve the special use and then also approve the variance for a sign to be placed on the building itself. I don't know if we want to limit actual size, Marta, if you have any thoughts on that, but I think something that would fit on the front of the garage area, or I guess in front of the building. And, you know, I don't know if we want to limit it to something larger than the 1 by 1 foot that's currently, you know, city code. I'd be more comfortable going a little bit larger than that if Mrs. Robinson would consider placing it on the building.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that would be fine with me.
the motion would be to approve a favorable recommendation for the home occupation with a recommendation to limit the sign to being a wall sign only on one of the walls surrounding the garage doors with and allowing it to be larger than the 1 by 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Okay, so,
Mr. Chairman, point of clarification, if you would, please.
yes, sir.
Can we split this up into 2 motions in relationship to the variance on the occupancy and also the sign thing, or does this have to be a one-shot deal?
Joe, can you clarify that?
My question is, in listening to this motion, it sounds like we are giving the variance for the house to be used as a beauty salon, and we're also including the signage in that. My question is, does it have to be bundled into one, or can it be 2 separate things that could be voted upon in relationship to the occupancy being used for a beauty salon, and then the signage part being a separate?
Joe, can you answer that?
that's more of a procedural thing for you guys. I mean, you're more than welcome to do it. It may actually make sense,
Yeah.
Okay.
You could,
for
so
clarity's sake, to do it that way.
if you would want to split that up, then we would need for Mr. Hall, the easiest thing to do might be for Mr. Hall and Ms. Sipe to withdraw their motion in second, and then we start over.
I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw mine.
Okay, so then,
Okay, then would someone make a motion on the approval of the or favorable recommendation for the business being located in at that address?
So move.
Second.
Okay, Marty, you're clear on that?
yep,
All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Landis,
Yes.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
That is 7 yes, 0 no, with 2 absent. And that is a favorable recommendation that will be forwarded to the Board of Zoning Appeals for final action at the end of the month. And then do you want to also include a recommendation dealing with the sign?
Okay, Mr. Hall, would you like to make a motion in reference to this?
I would like to make a motion to give a favorable consideration for a variance for signage on this premises for a business that will be located on the garage portion of the building.
Okay, Mr. Hall made a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Carey seconded. Roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Landis,
No.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
That is 6 yes, 1 no, with 2 absent. And that is a recommendation to be forwarded to the Board of Zoning Appeals, recommending that the sign be located on the wall of the garage rather than as requested.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you.
Okay, next, another business, MPC 01-21A. Marta?
Jurisdiction Plan Commission, being a resolution of approval of the contract with CZB LLC for professional services regarding the Delaware Muncie Comprehensive Plan and the Muncie Strategic Investment Plan. And as you know, we've been working on this for several months now, going through the process to going through an RFP process to solicit proposals and review and rate and interview the respondents. And we, at the special meeting, you approved CZB as the consultant. We have worked with them to work out the terms of the contract, and I had forwarded that to you all. And Mr. Retz, even though he didn't have much time, did a good job, reviewed it, and indicated to me that it was fine. He did, however, find a typo. So I appreciated that, Joe. I will, on page 5, there's actually 5 and 6. There's section D1, 2, and then it skips to 4, 5. So I need to correct the codification on that and change the numbering. It doesn't change the content, just correcting the numbers. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer. Otherwise, I would say we could entertain a motion to approve with the correction to the numbering typo.
Hey, Mario, one other thing, if you don't mind, really quick. On page 8 in section 20D, so section I there, the insurance number just needs to be corrected as well. That's another typo. It's $1 million per claim, and a new number I've never really seen, dollar figure for aggregate coverage. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be 10 million.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha. I will fix that one as well. That would be yeah, well, I don't even know what that would be. So thanks.
I'll
Okay,
make a motion to approve the contract with CZB along with the corrections proposed.
A second.
okay. Kat, second roll call, please.
Mhm. Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Landis,
Yes.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
That is 7 yes, and with 0 no and 2 absent. And that is approval of the contract with the corrections as noted. And the final thing to get us started on that project is it probably would be in order if there was a motion made to authorize the president and vice president of the commission, along with the selection committee, to work with CZB to create our steering committee for the project. They will act as advisors and liaisons to different groups. So the motion would be to authorize the president, vice president, and selection committee to create the steering committee.
Would anyone like to make that motion?
Make that
So
motion.
moved.
We have a motion, and I think,
Second.
all right.
Well, I think Jesse was in there, so,
Yes, he was. JP made the motion, seconded by Mr. Landis.
okay. Got it.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Landis,
Yes.
Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Very good. 7 yes, 0 no, with 2 absent, and that we will go to work on creating that steering committee. So thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Legislative action?
We did not have any legislative action on which to report.
All right. Do you have any other reports you would like to present?
One other thing, and that is, since this is the first meeting of the year, the Plat Committee is a 5-member committee that deals with final approval of subdivision plats. And it is comprised of Angie Moyer representing the county, Brian Stevens-Hotop representing the city, myself representing the technical staff, and a plan commission member who has been Ricky Sipe. And so I don't know if Ricky, are you willing to continue to serve?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay. And then also, we set this up last year. John Anderson is on the plat committee representing any plat that's filed within the sanitary district's territorial boundaries. And Tom Borchers, as surveyor, would be the member when the subdivision is located outside of the sanitary district's boundaries. So technically, at the first meeting of the year, we need for the Plan Commission to confirm the membership of the Plat Committee, as I just stated. So
Someone like to make that motion?
Make that motion.
Thank you.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Gosh, I don't know who to give that to.
I heard Cat for sure.
Okay, I'll give it to Kat.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Where was I? Mr. Matzenbacher,
Yes.
Ms. Sipe,
Yes.
Ms. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Landis,
Yes.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
That is 7 yes, 0 no, with 2 absent, and that is approval of the establishment of the Plat Committee for 2021.
Very good.
That is it for now.
Anybody have anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Good night, everyone.